Hi everybody, Sarah here. Now this is a bit out of my norm. I don't usually do sewing machine sort of, I don't know, instructions or chat about them or whatever. But I thought I would for this because about 6 months ago I purchased my first ever embroidery machine. And after doing a lot of research online, I opted for the Bernette B79 Yaya edition. And there were quite a few reasons I opted for this. It's a good machine and I can do ordinary sewing with it, although I very rarely do. I've only been doing embroidery with it. It came with software which is worth quite a few £100, and I have used that, so I'm really pleased with that. Plus it came with tons and tons of extras, extra feet, all sorts, loads of embroidery designs, and I just felt overall it was a good package. So I thought I'd just talk about what I have found with this machine while I've been getting used to it. So I've just turned it on and I am actually going to do embroidery. Oh, let's find my little stick thing. Embroidery. So I'm just going to follow the instructions on the machine for a minute, just while we chat. There were a couple of things I found almost immediately. I very rarely use the spools at the top because I use a spool at the side of the machine, and what I did find was nets were absolutely imperative. It didn't matter what size the cone was, I needed a net on it to stop the threads getting tangled up. So I always use my stand for my threads, and when I use my little spools, I'll just grab one. I often stand them on top of the big one like that, so they're a bit nearer the machine. But anyway, they've all got nets on. So I buy the nets that you can cut to size, and I poke most of them up the middle there and then over the thread. Now, thread-wise, there seems to be a lot of controversy and questions and things about what thread to use. Now, because I was new to it, I bought loads of threads off Temu because they were cheap. This thread I think I bought off Amazon. I bought loads of these big reels in a charity shop. They were just there. They were £1 a reel. I went, how can you not go wrong with that? Plus, I had some machine embroidery threads that I just acquired over the years, some Madeira rayon threads, and I haven't had a problem with any of these threads at all. What I have discovered is you've got to wind your bobbin correctly. So I always use the stand. I'm using white thread, which is probably not very good, is it? But still, you must go across under the little, let's just zoom in a bit, under there. And then you've got to go round this way, round there like that. It's very tempting to pull it that way, but don't. You've got to follow the arrows and go that way round it. Now, I don't use any different thread in the bobbins. I use exactly the same thread that I'm using to embroider with. I just couldn't see why I should need different thread, and again, I've never had a problem. So if I put it through the bobbin and I push it over, you can see it says that it's going to wind the bobbin, and I'll start. When it's wound it a bit, I'll stop and cut that long thread off. Would have been helpful if I brought my scissors over, wouldn't it? I wasn't really prepped for this morning, but I just thought, oh, well, I'm doing all this, I might as well show you what I'm doing. I let it continue winding the bobbin, but I never let it get to the very end. It will start to, and now they're big bobbins and they take a lot of thread, which is great because you don't want to be running out of thread during a project. I mean, it would be a bit of a disaster, wouldn't it? So I let it run. And then when it's almost getting to the point where it's filled up, once it starts getting a bit jerky, I stop it. I don't let it just carry on because I found it can tighten the thread on there. But we've got a bit of a way to go yet. It's starting to touch that now. I can hear it, so I'm going to stop it. So there we are, my bobbin is all wound up. And I've never had a problem with the bobbins. What people do have a problem with is the area on the machine where the throat plate is and changing over things. So I'm going to go down to here. What I hate is they give you one of these screwdrivers to unscrew everything. They're an absolute pig. All my machines have got these and they're so fiddly, I hate them. So what I did was, luckily with one of my other machines, an L-shaped screwdriver came with it, but you can buy these online. It's just a machine screwdriver, but it's just a slightly different shape. And the reason I'm going to unscrew this is because I did some very heavy duty embroidery the other day and I'm sure this is all full of fluff. So I'm going to clean it out. So, and I'm going to change my needle. The needles really, they'll do about 4 hours worth of embroidery and then they've had it. The eye gets rough and you can soon tell because you start getting fluff. The threads keep snapping and breaking, and that is because your needle's no good. 4 hours max really had it. Some people say they can keep using it for longer, but I found 4 hours is about my max. I suppose it depends what you're embroidering. Gosh, it's so hot today, and I thought, well, I can't have the fan on because you'll hear that wheezing away in the background, so I'm dripping. See, it's still fiddly even with this screwdriver, but I just found it easier than the one they give you. I think the one they give you is too high. Well, once you can get going. Right, so let's get in there and take that out. There's tons of fluff on my needle from what I was doing the other day. I can sort of see it all. So I'm going to get my little brush, and there's tons of fluff in here. So that was after embroidering for 2 hours, freestanding lace, FSL lace, and it created masses of fluff. So I'm going to clean out, see all the fluff there? I'm going to clean out all up here. That's got fluff on it. Don't forget all these other areas. You know, don't just concentrate on below. You need to get in there and check all these areas as well. Now, a lot of people have problems when they take these out, getting them back in. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Can you see? Goodness me. That is terrible. Lots and lots and lots of fluff. I have to say the freestanding lace embroidery I did was a purchased one, and I wasn't too keen. I thought it went over the top for the amount of stitches and the amount of times it went over and over itself. And that's why the machine is absolutely rammed with fluff. And it was a no, it wasn't. It was a cotton thread. It recommended, oh, I keep hitting things. It recommended cotton thread for this embroidery, so that's what I used. And it was a 30 weight, but they say don't blow in it, but how can you not blow in it? I keep hitting the button because it knows I've knocked the needle out of sync. But I'm not really bothered yet at the moment. Yeah, so really clean inside there. And around the back here. And in here. And on that little bit there. And on the thread cutter and everything. Oh, there we are. Yeah, I think what happens is when people put this back in, they drop it in and then they think they've centered it, and they haven't. That looks like it is. Let's just check. But it's not. It's got to drop in, click, and be firm. So let's get it in the right way. It's got to rest all the way around. There we are. Now that clicked in. Now that's in correctly with the little notch there. And this is the embroidery shuttle. It's got the red triangle on it. So that is now in firm. That's where I think a lot of people go wrong and have problems with their bobbin thread. Almost always the reason you're getting problems with your thread is because it's something to do with the bobbin. So there we are. I've cleaned up my bobbin. Let's have a look under. Oh, let's have a look under here. Give that a quick brush as well. Shouldn't blow. And that's going to go back in. And again, getting that just so can be a bit awkward. So let's get the screws back in. I tend to use my finger to get them started if I can, but my fingers are so sweaty at the moment. There we are. There's my little screwdriver. Don't screw up one tight before you've got the other one in and started. Right, so once I've got my throat plate screwed back on and the correct insert there, I'm going to change my needles. So I'm going to drop the foot down and I'm going to use my hump jumper to hold it while I unscrew it. I'm a bit cack-handed, so, you know, as we say in the UK. So. Right, I have got it there. It just, using the hump jumper just stops it falling down inside the machine, like so. And that's what it's meant for. It's got a little... I'll try and get it in focus. A little flat edge at the top for the back of the needle. Now I always use Schmetz needles. I like Schmetz. I've always used Schmetz. These are their embroidery needles and they're a size 75, which is a size 11. Let's get one of those in the middle. Push it right up. Let's take that off and just check I've got it up as far as it'll go. Yeah. Do it up nice and tight. Okie doke. So that's done. And that needle that I was using can go in the bin. Can't really focus on it. Oh well. Might have a look at that under a microscope later, just to see. Right, now I've got to put my bobbin thread in. So when you put your thread in the bobbin, you want it like a P, so the tail is coming down. Drop it in. Now hold it with your finger. Get it under that piece there, round, and over there, and down, and then cut it off. Oop. Pulled it tight now. Hold it down again. Isn't it typical? When you want to show somebody, nothing wants to do it properly. There you are, it's in. And then we put the cover on. There we are. So we're all set up. Let's lift that up again. Right, now I'm going to thread up the machine with exactly the same thread that I've put in the bobbin. And then I'm going to embroider something. So back with you in a second. Another little tip that might come in handy. When you're using all your stabilisers, whether they be soluble or whatever, you end up with a lot of bits where you cut round. And I stitch all my bits together with soluble thread, so dissolvable thread. You can either use a straight stitch or a zigzag. It doesn't matter, any old stitch will do, because it'll all dissolve away afterwards. But it means you can sew all your pieces in a big square together. I mean, this bit has been reused again, so, but you can see where I've stitched all these odd little bits together. It works fine. But I'm using new today, and I'm going to use, let's just push that out of the way a minute. I'm going to use my medium hoop, and I'm going to have a go at a free machine lace that I've designed myself, and it might all go terribly wrong, but who knows. This is dissolvable stabilizer, and again, this is all from, I think, from Temu or somewhere cheap like that. Now, because I'm not doing any fabric, I'm going to have a few layers of this, just to, because I haven't got any thick stabilizer. Apologies if you can hear banging outside. I don't know what someone's doing. Sounds like they're chopping up a tree. So I've got my clip end of the hoop here. Now, what I have noticed, I've seen people when they put the hoop in upside down, the top hoop, it should go that way round with the little arrow there pointing towards the bottom of the hoop here. So it should go in that way round. I don't know if it's not, I'm probably not going to like 3 layers. Oh, I think I've got it done up tight. So I'm going to push that in. There we are. It's going to be tight enough. Just tighten it up. And there we have it. It's all, let's zoom out again. So we're going to be ready to go. So now I've got to thread up the machine. And again, let's zoom in a bit. Under here, over there, over the little side there, down, up, around, down to the bottom, onto there. Now, this is the thing, it has got an automatic needle threader. I never use it. And the reason I never use it is because every time I use it, it knocks this needle off center, and I have to get it back to where I want it. And I just thought, oh, can't be doing that every time. So I just thread it manually. Now, another thing is, You can transfer wirelessly, but I don't bother. And you can transfer via a USB stick. And everyone says, what USB sticks can you use? I just found one that was in the drawer that I've had for ages. I wiped it clean and I've been using this ever since. It's a little scan disc. It's only a little one, 16 gigabyte. It's been fine. I don't think you particularly need any USB particular, but there we are. Anyway, I'm going to put it in the machine so that I can then choose. And up once you've put your disc in, you've got a green light there that tells you that you've got 98%. You've got that there for that, and these are for your, here is for your embroideries that are already on the machine, and you can open them all and see what you've got, 2 pages of that. But I want to go to my disc and find my embroidery, which is there. If you're not sure, you can turn it to a list and it will tell you the actual name of the embroidery, because sometimes that's easier, especially with me. I tend to change what I do on the machine and then I can't find them. So let's have a look. Is that the one? No, is that the one? Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, sometimes when I want to start, I can't remember what I'm doing. Let's just chop that long thread off. I just press start and it'll get the machine jiggering again so I can put my hoop in. Hang on. Yeah, put my hoop in. There we are. So we're in, and it will reset where the needle's going to be to the middle, and then it's going to start. Now this is all one colour. It will stop because originally when I designed it I did different colours in the layers, but I'm just going to do white because it's a test run, and it will tell me at the bottom all the different colours that I need to, that I've got on there. You see, it thinks there's loads of different colours, but I'm not going to worry about that. And it will, if you change the colour, it will move it about because it thinks you want to go straight to that area. So let's just give it a go. Oh. So I've now got too much thread, or I haven't got my bobbin threaded properly. Let's see what happens. Right, my bobbin's not threaded properly. You see where I said that? That is a bobbin issue. So I'm going to stop. Oh, stop, clear. And I'm going to take it out. It means I haven't got the bobbin threaded properly, and you can see I haven't. Look, it's whizzing about. So anytime there's a problem, it is invariably something to do with the bobbin. Let me check that's in correctly. It is. Let me try again. See, I like showing you when things go wrong because I think it helps. So it's got to be tight in there. Let me try it now. Right, we'll try it again. If it's not right again, we'll take the bobbin out and redo it. Look, I haven't screwed that screw right down. Isn't that bad? Right, I'm going to have to go back to the beginning. it. Here we go again. Let's give it another bash, folks. I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing, so if it stops suddenly doing anything, I'll come back to you. It's a bit noisy, but I'll talk over it. Another thing that I noticed is when it automatically cuts the thread for like changing colours, etc., it sometimes doesn't leave you enough tail. So what I do, as soon as I know it's going to do that, as soon as the needle goes to cut the thread, I pull on this thread and I pull a bit extra up, and that way I don't have a problem. So just a little, I'll see if, I can't remember when it's going to change the thread again. So what I did there was I knew it was going to cut, so I pulled the thread up on there, and it just gives me a nice long tail. I mean, overall, I love this machine, and I've been obsessed with it since I got it. And I was pleased that I hadn't put the bobbin thread in properly so that I could show you. That is a lot of the issues that people have. I hate to say it are user issues. It's not the machine, it's just getting used to getting everything just right. My only nag about it is that it sometimes doesn't leave a long enough tail on the needle when it trims the thread. What I love about the machine is it does trim all the threads. You can do that really easily with the machine. You've got loads and loads of options to do stuff, and I'll show you a few of the things that I've embroidered on it. I tend to not worry about expensive threads or anything posh. I just load it up and go. I mean, it makes me laugh because I suppose if I had a professional embroidery machine, you know, an 8 needle or a 16 needle, I probably could go off and make a cup of tea and do something else. But I just like watching this. It's like so relaxing. So here we are.